Hello and welcome to this Ranunculus video workshop for all circular knitting machines. The pattern for a machine with 20 or 22 needles is 25 rows in color A, 15 rows in color B and 5 rows in color C. And you cast on and cast off with your working yarn. So for the small flowers with the small machines, 25, 15 and 5 rows tube. When you have a machine with 40 needles, you have to knit a tube, starting with the first color, knitting 35 rows. With the second color, you knit 25 rows. With the third color, you knit 15 rows. And with the fourth color, you knit 7 rows. So you cast on and then you knit 35 rows with color A, color B 25, color C 15 and color D 7, and then you cast off with your working yarn. And this is for the circular knitting machine with 40 needles. When you own a machine with 44 needles, you have to knit a tube. You cast on with your working yarn and you knit 48 rows with color A, 36 rows with color B, 27 rows with color C, 18 rows with color D, and 9 rows with color E. So 48, 36, 27, 18 and 9 rows with a machine with 44 needles. When you have a machine with 46 or 48 needles, you have to knit a tube with 50 rows in color A, 40 rows in color B, 30 rows in color C, 20 rows in color D, and 10 rows in color E. And you cast off with your working yarn and you cast also on with your working yarn. So this tube is 50, 40, 30, 20 and 10 rows long. The next step is to add some yarn scraps to the color changes of our tubes, like this. I will show you how to do that. You take a little piece of yarn, put it into your yarn needle, and then you take your tube at a color changing point and you are going to pick up a V-stitch from one or the other color, skip one, pick up the next one, skip one, pick up the next one, and you are going to pick up all those V-stitches onto your needle and then you pull through the yarn, and you are going to continue doing that all the way around. Don't pull your yarn too hard because you don't want to pull it through, and don't pull it tight. Just pull it through the stitches. At the color change point, you just hop to the lower row, it doesn't matter, and continue. You will not see this later, so continue doing this all the way around. Like this. And do that at every color change. With our tube prepared, we are ready to assemble our ranunculus. I'm going to pull my yarn at the end where I cast it off, the small color. And I'm going to secure my yarn with a little knot. And I'm going to pull through my yarn. And then I'm going to stick my left hand in my tube, and with my right hand I'm poking the needle through the little hole, and I'm catching it with my left hand and pulling it to the outside through the middle of the tube. And now I'm going to join with knots the little pieces of yarn that we put into our tube. Knot them firm. And do that with all those pairs tails, with every color change. And then when you have done that all, you are going to close the beginning. Put to the inside the yarn tails you don't need and leave the end tail on the outside. And now I'm going to stick the pairs in my needle and to the inside of my tube. And again to the outside. Like this. Pull through and cut. And now they disappear. Do that with all the pairs. And now we are going to do the magic trick. We are going to pull at the end tail and the flower will appear. You can just push the tube along the yarn tail, push them together, and there is your flower. You have to help a little bit. And then knot those two ends firm to each other. And you can leave them like this to use to join to something else. But I'm going to tuck them away by putting them in my yarn needle. And stick them between the layers of the outer tube. So, and then I'm going to cut it. I always keep the tails for other projects. And there is my flower. I will continue with doing the same with all the other tubes. Pulling at the cast off tail, making sure that the ribs are rolled to the inside. Secure the end with a knot. And stick the end to the inside, catch it with your hand and pull it through the outside. It's important. I forgot to put the scrap yarn on this color change, so I have to do it quick. And I'm going to knot them and continue doing that with all those pairs. It's exactly the same as the small tube. Stick those tails to the inside. Cut them. And then close the beginning. Make sure that you keep out the tail of the end, and for the rest you can put all those tails to the inside. Close the beginning. Push the ribs to the inside. Pull at the end and make those circles flat. And then just make a knot in those both tails, a firm knot. And I'm going to tuck them away, those tails. And I'm going to cut them. And now there is my next flower. 2 left. And there is another ranunculus. It's magic how they appear. And my last tube turning into a ranunculus too. And I'm almost finished. It goes really, really quick. It's a really fun project. And the last knots. Tucking away those ends. and cut them and put them away for a scrap yarn head or something. And there is your Ranunculus, and this is how you make them. It's a very fun and simple project, perfect for your yarn scraps. And you can do all kinds of things with them, from pillows to presents, decoration, water balloons. Everything is possible. So, this was the workshop. If you like this workshop and want to see more, join my channel, and in the description of this video you will find the link to the playlist with more than 70 workshops for your circular knitting machine. They are all free. I also have a Facebook group, Instagram. You will find all kinds of interesting information under this video in the description. And feel free to tip me if you want to keep my videos free. Thank you for watching. Stay safe. With love from Holland. Bye bye.